Hey guys, this is Andrew with rockclass101.com, and in this week's ukulele lesson, I'm going to be teaching you an original tune that I wrote, which I'm calling Hope. Now, I wanted to write a song that expressed the emotions we go through when we're feeling hopeful. And I know for me, more often than not, I usually have feelings of doubt or anxiety in the beginning. And we can hear that in the music. The first few bars of theme 1, they start with this somber quality to it. It's a very sad sound, but we start to see a glimmer of hope in the second half of theme 1. Where the tables get turned, right? And there's a little bit more optimism coming in. Now, as the song progresses, it really gets flipped the opposite way. When we get into the second theme, it has a lot more positivity and the feeling that we're actually going to get through it. And until we get to the very end of the song, that's where we have full-on confidence with this beautiful run up the neck. So this song kind of takes you on an emotional journey, is what I'm trying to say. And I think it came out great. I'm really happy with the composition. It's a lot of fun to play. So let's actually take a step back and talk about it from a playing standpoint. Now, I think this song is going to be perfect for the intermediate player, and I go ahead and say the beginner intermediate player. It's not super hard what we're doing with our left or right hand, although there are some tricky aspects to it. For example, the beginning of the song has a tricky little pull-off lick, and the rest of the song, as you go through it, has a lot of movement. So we're going to be working our way up and down the neck, and there's going to be a few chord shapes that might be new for you. But all this comes together to really create a really good beginner intermediate piece. Now, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about this lesson, because in this video, I'm going to be teaching you guys how to play the entire song. But if you want to get the tabs to print off and follow along with, that's going to be available at this link right here, or you can go to the site rockclass101.com and do a search for Hope. Now, also on that page will be the interactive on-screen tab viewer. Now, this is a really cool feature where you can hit play, you can watch the tabs scroll across in real time, you can highlight bars to loop sections, slow it down to any speed you wish. Just a great asset in learning this song that much easier. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into learning how to play it. There's a few things we want to talk about first. The elephant in the room is this song is for low G, so grab the low G ukulele. Now, the second thing I want to talk about is our right hand approach for finger picking. You can use a 4-finger approach, which means thumb gets string 4, index gets string 3, middle gets string 2, ring gets string 1. Or you can use a 3-finger approach where thumb gets double duty, so 4 and 3, index is string 2, middle is string 1. You can jump between the two, do a hybrid 4-finger, 3-finger approach. There's really no right or wrong with this tune. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at our first theme. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put up the first line of tabs. So we've got 3 measures we're looking at right here. Now, off the bat, we can see that we're starting extremely easy. We're starting with an A minor chord. So let's go ahead and fret the A minor. So I'm going to use my middle finger to grab this A minor. And I'm going to go ahead and start with a down strum using the flesh of my thumb. Just gives it a nice warm sound. After that, I'm going to take my ring finger and put it onto the 2nd fret of string 1. And then use my pinky to play the 3rd fret. So rhythmically, this bar sounds like 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have a half note followed by quarter notes. So very simple. Let's try it together. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, as we go into our second bar, we're going into a minor major sound. So it's a hybrid of happy and sad. It's a really cool tonality. But think about where we left off. We left off with these 3 fingers down, right? So what we want to do is we want to lift our pinky finger up, and we want to lift the middle finger up. Keep the ring finger planted on that 2nd fret, but add the index to the 1st fret on string 4. Now this time around, I want you to pluck all 4 strings. And here's the kicker. If you look at the rhythm, you can see that this pluck of the chord is a dotted quarter note. So that means we hold it for a beat and a half. So that is 1 and 2. Now on the end of 2, we've got a quick pull off. So you can see that tiny little 3 on the tab. That tiny little 3, that's called a grace note. A grace note just adds flourish to the main note. So the main note is the 2, right? The 2nd fret on string 1. So when we are doing this pull off, we want it to be really quick and fast. You can hear that it adds flourish instead of just playing 2 by itself, right? We add flourish by going ba-da. So I want you just to practice that right now. You can hit pause on the video, but try to give me a really quick pull off like that. So it's got to be ba-da, ba-da, ba-da. Okay, so hit pause, practice that. But what happens after you do the quick pull off is that you're going to do another pull off to the open A, and then take that pinky, put it onto the 3rd fret of string 2. So all together, let me play this measure. 1 and 2. Okay, so it's going to sound like that. 2 and 3, 4. So you have ba, ba da da da. So try to do that. See if you can sing it. You can play it. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Now that time around, I counted it out as 1 and 2 and 3, 4. So take a look at this. If I rewrite the grace note as 16th notes, so the 3 and the 2 becomes the 16th note, it becomes a little bit easier to count. So I would have 1 and 2 and 3, 4. So that's a little bit of an easier way to count out this rhythm, right? We still get that quick ba-da sound in our first pull off, but it becomes a lot easier to count than trying to count a grace note, which is literally 2 notes in 1. Okay, so let's see if we can try that. We'll go nice and slow. We'll count it as the 16th. So we have 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Let's try again. 1, 2, ready, go. Okay, so this is probably one of the most trickiest bars in the tune, and we see it right at the get-go. Now, if this pull-off is really tricky, don't beat yourself up. It's hard because we have to use the pinky finger, right? And our pinky finger generally tends to be the weakest finger. So this is actually a really good measure for practicing building finger strength in the pinky. But if it's a little hard for you right now, you can just practice that pull off with 2nd to 1st, or maybe 3rd to 2nd. And you can just practice the timing by going 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3, 4. So you can do something like that just to practice that quick little pull off lick, and then you can put it back into the context. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Now I want to say this too. Timing for this song, you can use a little bit of rubato. We don't have to be perfectly glued to the metronome. That's what rubato means, right? So if you think of this song, we don't have to be so rigid. Da ba 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 da 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 da, right? It kind of sounds robotic, right? If we play perfect. So if you put a little bit of rubato, little bit of looseness into the playing, it sounds a lot more natural. It's like having a conversation. We do not talk at the same length of each word we say, right? That sounds really weird. So if you're new to studying rubato, jump into this lesson. I'll also link it in the description box below. Now, let's backtrack. I'm going to go ahead and play measure 1 into 2 so we can hear the first couple bars. So if we try that together, we have 1, 2, ready, go. So a little challenging with that pull-off lick. And of course, if that's too fast, you can always use the cog to slow it down. Now, as we take a look at our third measure, you're going to notice something. It's almost identical to the first measure. The only difference is instead of playing A minor, we're playing A minor 7, so all opens. So this time around, you're going to strum all open, and then walk your way up with the index to the middle finger. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? So we're using these fingers because if we take a look at the next measure, measure 4, we're going up the neck to grab a C7. Okay? So measure 3, very simple. I don't think we need to do a play along since it's pretty much measure 1 repeated with slight variation. But let's go ahead and break down measure 4. So C7, we're going to use our ring finger for the 7th fret of string 1. Middle finger is 6 on string 2. The other strings above are open. So we can do a down strum for this first hit. And then I want you to use the index finger to grab 5 on string 1. So you got to lift the ring up. And then take that pinky, put it on 8 on string 2, and then lift it up, 6 on string 2. So watch how my fingers stay anchored when I play notes. So you can see these two fingers stay anchored because they help build the sustain. Okay, so let's see if we can try this one together. It's all quarter notes, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's try that. Ready, go. 2, 3, 4. Okay, one more time. 1, 2, ready, go. Not too bad. As we go into measure 5, we're going to be playing an F chord. So for this F shape, we're going to use our 2nd and our ring finger. So place your 2nd finger on the 5th fret of string 3. Ring is underneath it, so it's 5 on 2. And we have the open A under that. So we're going to start the same with a down strum from 3 down. And we're holding out for a half note. So we have 1, 2. At this point, take the pinky, put it on the 5th fret of string 1, and then lift it up and place your index finger on the 3rd fret. So it's a bit of a finger frenzy because you've got to go from pinky to index. So 1, 2, 3, 4. A little bit challenging. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this one, I think, may take a little bit of work in terms of what our left hand is doing. And let's also talk about the left hand as well. So left hand form, proper left hand form is really important for a lot of chord shapes in this song. Because here's the thing, if you're hugging the neck like this, check out my pinky finger. I can barely place it underneath my ring finger. It's pretty much on the fretboard, or I'm sorry, on the metal fret. Remember, if we fret a note on the metal fret, we don't hear anything. We hear a muffled sound. So if you're hugging the neck, you lose a lot of dexterity in the movement of your left hand. So for this chord, what you want to do is you want to have a nice U-shaped gap, and you want your thumb to be slightly above the middle of the neck. That's going to give you a lot more dexterity and mobility in your left hand. So you can see that as I fret the pinky finger underneath, it becomes way easier than if I was to hug the neck and do some kind of reach around with the thumb up here, where I just don't really have a lot of agility. Okay, so that's the first big takeaway with some of these chord shapes, is we want to be thinking about our left hand form. So if you need a crash course on proper left hand form, jump into this lesson, and I'll link it in the description box below as well. Now, with that in mind, we're going to go ahead and fret the F chord, strum on beat 1, hold into beat 2, take the pinky, put it underneath, 5 on 1, and then we switch to 3 on 1. Let's see if we can try that. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. Nice. Now, as we go into our 6th measure, we're taking it to a basic G. And here's the kicker again. Look at the rhythm. It's a dotted quarter, so you know to hold it for a beat and a half. And if you look at the ending lick, it's identical to what we did in measure 2. So we already know how to play this ending lick. But this time around, we're using pinky to start us off, going to second finger, pull off to the open, and we already have a finger held down to grab 3 on 2. So this one is actually a little bit easier to play than measure 2 chord. So let's see if we can try that one together. So we have 1, 2, and a 3, 4. So we can call it out with that 16th note rhythm again. So let's see if we can try it together. 1, 2, and a 3, 4. 2, and a 3, 4. Nice. So if I backtrack, I'm going to go ahead and cycle through everything for theme 1 so we can hear all 6 bars in their entirety. It sounds like this. So that's kind of a good gist of what it sounds like. And if you try to tap your foot along, you can hear I'm a little bit loose on timing because we want to go back and we want to kind of harken on that rubato feel. You know, we don't have to be kind of like we don't have to be so glued to the metronome. It sounds a little bit robotic, right? So just be a little bit loose with it. You want to, in your playing, you want to showcase that you know the rhythms, right? You don't want to go. Right? You want to show a clear understanding of the rhythms that you're supposed to play. But if you want to be a little bit loose in the timing, it works really well for this song. So keep that in mind, you know. You can play it however you want. If you love how it sounds perfectly in time, go for that way too. There's no right or wrong. So as we go into theme number 2, we're going to hear that it's essentially developing the melody in theme 1. So if we put up the first line of tab, so 7, 8, and 9, if you look at the rhythm for all 3 bars, you're going to notice they're all identical. 1, 2, and 3, 4, that's it, 3 times in a row. So that's the first thing you want to pull. Now, if you narrow your focus in, look at just bar 7, narrow your focus in to beat 2 and the end of 2. So that is going to be our harmonies. We're taking the melody from measure 1, but now we're going to embellish it by adding more harmony notes. So in essence, theme 2 is kind of like telling a story, right? A story has a beginning, a middle, and an ending. And the story is supposed to develop to keep you interested, right? If the middle was exactly like the intro, you wouldn't have any, it wouldn't take you anywhere, right? So that's kind of what's happening here. So instead of just going, again, for the beginning of this tune, we have some development. So let's break down measure number 7. So back to the A minor. We're going to start with a strum, then play string 3, and then first string, both open. So strum, open, open. Then you know the melody notes, 2, 3. So all you have to do is really get down the rhythm. 1, 2, and 3, 4. So strum 3, 1, 2, 3. Let's see if we can try that together. So 1, 2, and 3, 4. So there's a couple times on loop. Let's try it one more time. 1, 2, and ready, go. Not too bad, right? Going to the minor major. So back to that really cool sounding chord. So for this first hit, I would pluck it just like we did in bar 2. Then we have that harmony. So we're going to start with the open C. Put your pinky down on 3 on string 1, lift up, play second, then open A. So our melody walks down for this bar. So pluck, 2 and 3, 4. So calling out the hits, pluck, 3, 1, 1, 1. So let's try this one a little bit slower. So 1, 2 and 3, 4. That's a good speed. 1, 2 and 3, go. If we try 7 into 8, we have 1, 2 and 3, 4, 1, 2 and ready, go. Nice. Going into measure 9, it's the same as measure 7. Just remember the first hit, all opens. But 1, 2 and 3, 4. Remember in measure 3, we talked about using the index and middle to walk up. Same thing happens here. Let's try this bar. So we have 3, 4. So pretty simple, right? Let me see if I can play a little bit better. 3, 4. That's a little bit better. Now, as we take a look at our next 3 lines, we're going back to C7. So we know the chord, and we have the same kind of motion that we're playing out of. So remember how we strummed and then we went to 5 on string 1? So we had to lift the ring finger up. Same thing's happening here, but you're going to put the ring finger back down to play the note again, and then lift it up to play 5 again. So remember the anchoring that we had, first and second, to stay put throughout this chord. That happens exactly the same in this measure. So strum 5, 7, 5, 8 on string 2. Rhythmically, 1, 2, and 3, 4. So we've got that same rhythm as the previous 3 bars. Let's see if we can try that one together. So we have strum 5, 7, 5, 8, 1, 2, ready, go. Nice. Now as we go into the 11th bar, we're going back to F, and we're adding 1 extra note. So after we strum, we're going to hit string 3, and then play 5, 3 on string 1. So all that's the same as measure 5, we're just adding a note on beat 2. So let's see if we can try that. All quarters. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nice. Going into the last bar, G. So start the same. We're going to strum 3 down, hit string 3, and then put your pinky on 3 on string 1. And that's going to end the bar. So together we have 3, 4. So very, very simple measure. So in essence, again, we're just kind of doing variations. We're developing the flow of the tune. So we're adding more to the harmony. And that's kind of helping to build the sound, right? It's making the song feel like it has a beginning to a middle to an end, but we're not at the end yet. So let me do this. I'm going to go ahead and backtrack. I'm going to play all of theme 2 in its entirety so we can hear everything throughout. Sounds like this. So you can hear my demo right there. I chose to keep the timing a little bit more steady. So one idea is you could start theme 1. Maybe with a little bit more rubato and slower tempo than when you get to theme 2. maybe keep it more steady, but maybe play it a little bit at a faster tempo. But you want to carry on this tempo when you go into theme number 3. And theme number 3 is where it gets kind of flipped around. So these first couple themes, we can kind of consider it the A melody of the song. They had a little bit more of a somber tonality to it. And then when we get to theme 3 and 4, which is like the B melody, whoops, if I play right, you can hear 3/4 of it has a much more positive outlook. So if we look at these first 3 bars for theme 3, 13, 14, and 15, I want you just to take a look at, let's narrow in our focus to 13 and 14. You can see that we're playing out of a stock C. So we're going to use our index finger to grab it. So before we actually learn it, there's 2 things I want to point out that's going to make learning it easier, because we're about to see some repetition in the music plus what we're doing with our right hand. So first thing, if we narrow our focus to just measure 13 and 14, let me play it for you. So that's what it sounds like. Get that stuck in your head. So ba do da do ba do ba da. Get that stuck in your head. And here's the first point. The right hand is going to do a repetitive pattern. So I'm going strum 3, pluck 4, pluck 3, single notes to end it. If we look at measure 15, and then we'll put up 16 in a sec, I'm going to do the same pattern. So I'm going strum 3, pluck 4, pluck 3, single notes to end it. So it's a repetitive right hand pattern. Look at the F chord. Exact same thing, right? Strum 3, pluck 4, pluck 3, single notes. So if you get the right hand pattern memorized, you can play these next 3 chords, which is 6 bars, right? So it's the same pattern every 2 bars. Now, the other thing I want you to watch out for is the motion of the open string. So if you look back at 13 and 14, you can see that on beat 2 and 13, we have open C. Beat 4, we have open G. Look at bar 14. Beat 2, we have open C. So our open strings are literally going 3, 4, 3. So we're just bouncing between those 2 strings. So it gives you another way to memorize it, so you know that you're always playing the correct open string at the right time. It's always going to go 3rd and then 4th and then back to 3rd. So keep those 2 concepts in mind. It's going to make learning this so much easier. So back to making the C with our index. We're going to go ahead and strum, then hit string 3 by itself open, then pluck 1 and 2, so it's a double stop. So we're plucking 1 and 2, and then 4th string open. So we have strum 3, pluck 4. Okay, going into measure 14, pluck 3, single note, 3, 5 on the A string. So call out that pattern with me. We have strum 3, pluck 4, pluck 3, 3, 5, and rhythmically it just stays all quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's try that together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, go. Take it up to C7, and we know exactly what to do. It's the same pattern. Strum 3, pluck 4, pluck 3, 8, 7. Now, the single notes at the end is different. They're walking down. So you take the pinky, put it on 8 on string 1, and then lift up, back to 7. So same concept, we want to keep fingers anchored for the C7. So taking it back to the beginning, let's see if we can try that together. So bar 15, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, ready, go. Nice. Going to a new chord shape, F add 9. So to make this chord, we want to first think about where we're coming from. So start with the C7. To go to the F, we're going to take the first and the pinky. We're going to put the first finger down on 5 on string 2 and the pinky down on 8 on string 1. Then we're going to lift these two middle fingers, second and third, up. And we can strum from 4 down, the other strings are open. So you may want to just practice C7 to the F add 9. Not a super hard transition. Now, with this chord intact, we already know the right hand pattern, right? So strum 3, pluck 4, pluck 3. Then when we get to the single notes, we're going to have to move up. So lift the index finger up, we don't need it, and take that pinky, slide it up to 10, play that note, and we can come back down with it and play 8. So that's one option. You could also do this. You could come down with the ring finger, which I actually do prefer because when we go to the next chord, we're actually going to need that ring finger. Okay, that ring finger is going to be called for the first string. So try that. So strum 3, pluck 4, pluck 3, 10, 8 with the ring finger. Let's try that together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, ready, go. Okay, now as we go into our home run stretch, the last couple bars, take that ring finger, move it down to 5 on string 1, put your middle finger down on 4 on string 2. So we're going to strum the rest of the strings open above it, and this gives us a really cool sounding chord. It's an F minor 13. So this takes us back into kind of that somber tonality. So that's what these next two bars sound like. So if you haven't noticed yet, this shape, it's the exact same shape as the C7, but now we're down a whole step, so we're on 4 and 5. So with that in mind, our pattern for our right hand is going to change. We're going to go ahead and just do a strum, hit string 3, then take your pinky, put it down on 6 on string 1, pluck the bottom 2 strings, hit the open G. Then we're going to go ahead and lift these 2 fingers up, put your index finger down on the 3rd fret of string 1, pluck the bottom 2, hit the open C, move it down a half step, and you're plucking the bottom half of a G chord. So that's a lot. Let's start it again. Starting with the C7 shape, down a whole step, so 4 and 5. We're going to strum, open C, take the pinky, put it on 6 on string 1. You're going to pluck 1 and 2. Then open 4, then lift these 2 fingers, put the index down on 3 on string 1, pluck the bottom 2, open C, move it down a half step, pluck. Okay, so we have a little bit of a different right hand, but at the same time, it's still very similar, where we have strum 3, pluck 4, pluck 3, pluck. So that's really the only difference, is that last hit is a pluck. Strum 3, pluck 4, pluck 3, pluck. So you can call it out like that to get it memorized. Let's see if we can try that together, all quarters. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now if we backtrack, I'm going to go ahead and play all of theme 3 so we get a context of what we've learned so far. So that gives us a good gist of where we're at. And when we go into theme 4, it's going to be just like when we went into theme 2. it's going to be just a variation so we can have the story develop more. So you hear it's just the same thing, it's just more harmony developing, and we've got a little bit more melodic lines. Okay, let's break down what's happening. So we're going to start with the C chord, and this time around we're going to go strum, pluck, 3, pluck. Okay, so that's just the first bar, so you want to get that memorized, that pattern. Strum, pluck, 3, pluck. So let's try that together. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Okay, going into the next bar, we're going to hit the open G, then pluck again. Then we have a melody line that we're going to walk up. So take that index, drop it down to the 2nd fret. You're going to play 2, 3, 5. So starting on 22, we have open G, pluck, 2, 3, 5. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now it sounds a little bit abrupt doing 21 by itself and 22 by itself. So what you really want to do is you want to play them together. That gives us a good context of what the music sounds like. Now the other thing you want to do is you want to get the right hand pattern memorized. So strum, pluck, 3, pluck, 4, pluck, 2, 3, 5. Right single notes at the end. So strum, pluck, 3, pluck, 4, pluck, single notes. Because we're going to see that get repeated again and again. Right, exact same pattern for C7, going to F add 9. A little bit different, but it starts out the same. So let's try 21 into 22 together. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, ba-da-da. Nice. Going into C7, we're going to start the same. So we have strum, pluck, 3, pluck, 4, pluck. So same right hand pattern. Then we're going to do single notes, but it's a walk down. 8, 7, 5. So take the pinky, put it on 8, lift up, 7, and then lift up. Index goes to 5. So let's see if we can try that together. So strum, pluck, 3, pluck, 4, pluck, 8, 7, 5. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Nice. And if I cycle through those first 2 chords, I end up with this. Okay, let's go into the next one. So F add 9. So for this chord, we know the shape already, and we're starting out the same with our right hand. So strum, pluck, 3, pluck, 4, pluck. But instead of ba-ba-ba single notes, we're going to switch it up. We're going to do a quick slide up to 10 and then back to 8. So this quick little slide up, you're going to use the pinky finger, go 8 to 10, and then come back with your ring finger on 8. So together it looks like this. So rhythmically, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's try that together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, go. Nice. Now to finish it up, you're going back into the exact same bars that you did for 19 and 20. So we know exactly what to play there because it's exactly to a T identical. Now, if you look at the last 2 bars, we have 2 extra bars added on to theme 4, and this is the music that gets us back into the, well, theme 2, right? So we need a little bit of music to tie us back because it sounds a little bit weird if we go. Right, it doesn't flow as nice as this. Right, this little lick right here gives us just a little bit more pleasantness to our ear as we transition back to that main theme. So here's what's happening. We're going to take our ring finger, go 5 to 6 on string 1. So quick grace note to start us off with, back to 5 with the middle finger, and then 3 with the index. So you've got slide 5, 3, then take the pinky, go 6 on string 2, then middle 4 on string 2, index 3 on string 2, and then ring finger 5 on string 3. And you can add a little slide. So when I'm playing this and I slide down, I lift pressure up about the 3rd fret, and it gives me a fade out sound. So I don't want to go hold pressure down because it sounds weird, but I want to lift pressure up about right there, and it creates a nice fading out sound. So all together it sounds like this. Okay, keep it nice and steady, quarter notes. Let's see if we can try it together. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, ready, go. Nice. So let me go ahead and play through all of theme 4 so we can hear it in its full context. So that gives us a good gist of what it sounds like. And that takes us back into theme number 2, but we're calling it theme 5. So we're going to end the tune with theme 5. Now here's the cool thing. If we look at the first 3 bars, it's identical to theme 2. Then we look at the next 3 bars, you can see that the first 2 are identical to theme 2. Then when we get to the G chord, the first half, identical to theme 2. So take it from the G, you're going to strum 3 down, hit string 3. We saw that before. Instead of putting the pinky underneath to grab 3 and 1, this time around we're going to pluck the bottom 2 strings, so 1 and 2. So you've got strum 3, pluck 1 and 2, and then hit open 4. So this right hand pattern, I want you to memorize that. So strum 3, pluck 4. And take note too, the pinky gets added. Strum 3, pluck 4. Because when we go to the next bar, A minor 7, it's the same thing. Strum 3, pluck, pinky gets added, 4. Then look at the next bar, G, strum 3, pluck, pinky gets added, 4. So you've got the same right hand pattern and the same adding the pinky on beat 3 for the next 3 bars. So keep that in mind, because it's just a repetitive pattern. So back to 36, let's try that together. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pretty simple, right? Now we're going to move to a new chord shape. So here's what I want you to do. Lift every finger up except the ring finger. Move that up a whole step to 5. Take your middle, put it on 4 on string 3, and your index goes 3 on string 1. Now this gives us our A minor 7. So we're going to strum 3 down, then hit string 3, then add the pinky underneath the ring, so 5 on string 1, pluck 1 and 2, then open G. So we have strum 3, pluck 4. Then I want to go ahead and talk about the transition to the next chord shape. So the same thing's going to happen. We're going to lift everything up except the ring finger. Move that up a whole step to 7 on string 2, and put your middle finger above it, 7 on 3, and your index goes to 5 on string 1. So same thing here, strum 3, pinky gets under it, added under the ring finger, pluck the bottom two, and then open G. Okay, so the movement is all about the ring finger, right? Right, so that ring finger is kind of guiding us up the neck. So keep that in mind. It's going to make the transitions a lot easier. And of course, you can always remove all the music and just practice the transition in and of itself. So G to A minor 7, back to a higher voicing of G. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So you can practice the transition like that just to get the muscle memory down, going from one chord to the next. But if we backtrack, let's start at 37. So we have A minor 7, so strum 3, pluck 4, strum 3, pluck 4. Let's see if we can try that nice and slow. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, ready, go. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and if I play all three together, sounds like that. Going into our next part, it's going to be different for our right hand. We have a cool little walk up on an F. So we're doing a partial bar, so lay flat on the 8th fret, string 1 and 2, add your middle to 9 on string 3. Give me a down strum, and then we're going to pluck or pick our way going down out of the chord. So we're going to go 3, 2, 1. But when you get to 1, I want you to add your ring finger to 10 on string 1. So I have strum 3, 2, 10 on 1, and then add your pinky to 12. So 1, 2, and 3, 4. All right, let's see if we can try that together. 1, 2, and 3, go. Nice. Now, before we learn the next part, I kind of want to talk about how to play this section, because this is the climax of the tune. So we don't want it to be very flat. We don't want it to go. Right, we don't want it to be kind of like that. We want to put a little bit more emotion into it, right? Because this is where we have full-on confidence as it relates to hope. So you can start to play a little bit with more accented strums. You can play a little bit louder in your volume. Right? If I backtrack to the beginning. You can hear that I built the dynamic as I worked my way up those 3 chords up to the F, right? And then it starts to kind of slow down a little bit, taper off to give us a resolution back to C. So keep that in mind as we work through the last few bars of the tune. So let's see if we can do this. Let's go ahead and just play through 36 through 39. So it sounds like this. And I want you to try to copy that. So start off with a little bit lighter and then build the volume as you go through the F chord. Okay, so here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Nice. Now, let's look at the last 3 bars. So you're going to take that same shape, move it up a whole step, becomes a G. But we're actually going to keep that pinky finger. So think about where you left off, actually. You left off on 9, 8, and 12. So you're going to take this exact same shape, move it up a whole step, so 11, 10, and 14. Okay, so our first hit, strum all 3, then pluck out of the chord, 3, 2, 1, then we have a melody on string 1. So 12 with your ring, 10, which is barred, back to 14 with pinky. So strum 3, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1. Okay, so strum 3, 2, 14, 12, 10, 14. It's a lot of notes to call out. Okay, so just hit pause, practice that a little bit. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. But take note too, I wrote a little bit of a retardando to start on the third beat. So 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. You want to start to gradually slow down about there. Let's try that. So 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. With me? Ready, go. Strum 3, 2, slow. Nice. You can see on that last note too, it's a fermata, so you're going to hold it out for as long as you want before we go to the high voicing of C. So lay flat on the 12th fret, 1, 2, and 3, add your ring finger to 15 on string 1, and we're going to strum down, and we're literally going to pluck out of this chord. Okay, so strum 3 down, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. So just memorize that pattern. Strum 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. Hit the open G, and then strum the basic C. Now this last couple bars, they're going to be to fill too. So you see the rhythms that you have 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3. But you're going to play it to fill. So thinking about ending this song, we've talked already about how we're building dynamic. Slowing down on the G. Maybe we can do a little bit of a burst of speed on the C before we kind of end a little bit slower. So, you don't want to play this song flat. And you don't want to play it where tempo stays constant because it just sounds awful. So you really want to use the dynamics, use the retardando, the fermata, the burst of speed in the C to end it. So it sounds like this. Let me give you all of theme 5 again. So there's a lot of human emotion and feel in this, but it's really an uplifting section so that we end with confidence and positivity. So take this last few sections, just go slow over it. So target your practice starting on that G, building dynamic. Try to climax right around that F chord, start to do the retardando for the G, fermata, and then C, your own free time. Ending subtly and softly on the C. So that's everything for this lesson, guys. This song was a lot of fun for me to write. It really came effortlessly, although there was one section that it took a little bit of time to tweak, right? Songwriting is so weird. Sometimes things just magically appear without even trying. Just here you go, here's a song. But then you get tied up in one section trying to tweak it so it just feels right. And that's what happened with this tune, but it worked itself out after a few days, and I'm really happy with how it came out. Now, I do want to give you guys a friendly reminder that if you want to get the tabs to print off Keep For Your Records, that was available at this link right here. Or you can go to the site, rockclass101.com, do a search for Hope. Now also on that page was the really cool interactive on-screen tab viewer. So you can literally hit play, you can watch that tab scroll across in real time. You can highlight bars to loop sections, slow it down, do all that fun jazz, which makes learning this song much easier. So guys, again, I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.